The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GMC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps. The cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Riff Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hey!
Hey guys, I'm just sharing out.
Hi.
How are you?
Now that I found my pants, okay. I had to, I'm sorry.
So, Carrie Lynn, if you jump on later, we are all indeed wearing pants. Welcome, everybody, to another wonderful edition of the Otter's Den with your host, Keith Ottersberg, and tonight's special guest and new every other Monday night co-hosts, Renee and Jan. Say hi, Renee and Jan.
Hi, Renee and Jan.
Hi.
Mr. Odell is in the house, the founder of the RNN, Riff Nation Network.
Hello, sir.
Kicks his
Good
top
evening.
hat. Evening, travelers. Hey, Ashley, how you doing tonight? We got Michelle on here. So we actually have some guests. That's an awesome thing. We like when we have guests.
Yes, thank you.
We like it when they listen and they giggle. We like to make people
Hi,
giggle.
Gabby.
Hey, Gabby, how you doing?
I'm the only parent home tonight, and like I will be every Monday, so I have a blonde-headed thing that might pop in and out. Like that. She's not quite
Swallow.
high enough.
Swallow. Don't spit. Swallow. Oh, so sorry about that one. Coffee, because I don't want you to choke.
Ladies and
Don't gargle.
gentlemen, if you haven't already noticed, sometimes there is inappropriate humor on this show, so be prepared. And I'm going to give a little disclaimer here. We ain't doctors, we ain't psychologists, and that stuff. So we ain't
Absolutely.
doctors. If we give you advice, if you take it, that's your thing. Just saying.
Exactly.
My psychiatrist has a psychologist that has a counselor, and they all meet for meetings.
Good.
I'm just saying.
So I've been to meetings.
So high.
I've been to a lot of meetings.
I've been kicked out of meetings.
Yes.
I've had meetings caused because of me.
Same.
When you're the subject of the safety meeting, yeah.
Well, remember when before there was a HR?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm the reason why there's HR.
Fair.
Getting to know you, I believe it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm right there with you. I think I
That's why
caused some HR issues.
Yeah, that's the reason why, I'm a stay-at-home mom now. I am my own boss.
That is one of my goals.
Okay.
Is not to be a stay-at-home mom, but to be my own boss. And one of these days, if nothing else,
It's so cute in a dress.
if nothing else, I will hire myself so I can fire myself. There, I was my own boss.
I do that all the time.
Well, we kind of do that all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
I think like we're having a really let's say like today, we're having a really good day, and then tomorrow it's like a crap day, and it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna fire you. I'll fire myself. I mean, it does happen, right?
It does happen.
I put myself in timeout.
Oh, I've done that many times.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I stick my nose in the corner. I'm like, okay, Janice, you just need like 5 minutes to breathe. Just breathe.
Yes.
If I stood in the corner for as long as I am old, well, I'd be there for a while.
Same.
Speaking of which, I do have to give a shout out. It's somebody's 50th birthday today. So happy birthday, honey.
Happy freaking birthday.
Happy freaking birthday.
He's old. God, he's old.
Hey.
Yeah, I have one too that's in the other room that's about the same age.
Hey, I got 5 years on it. Watch the old jokes.
We didn't say ancient. We just said old.
Okay, I'll give that one.
Yeah. I mean, did your kids like joke with you about having to get you a How to Plan Your Last Will and Testament for Idiots book?
No.
I just got shushed from the other room.
I did see a book. I did see a book the other day on Facebook advertised that says it's a black book. It's a planner, will and testament planner. It says it's your problem now.
The oak in the other room has handed me off to other people and said that she's your problem. You deal with her.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
You may need some therapy after watching this show. Just saying.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, this is our second show together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're still getting used to things, and trying not to talk over each other because of delays and stuff, and that's okay. It's a learning experience.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yes.
Well, every single day.
Yes. And it's not going to be messed up.
No, messed up. Not messed up. Not at all.
Nothing messed up.
Nope.
God, I haven't said that in a long time.
No, I have it, and actually, it's kind of scary because of the video that I watched yesterday.
Which video?
You had said it. The one I said, "Oh, look at this!" What popped up on my feed from August?
Oh, yeah. Well, that just shows that I'm healed enough that I can say, hey, you know what? That's messed up.
Messed up.
That was my line. I made that.
Yes, you did.
I did.
With your cosmic green bean, carrots, and corn.
And guess what I got growing in the garden? I got cosmic mother green beans growing in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
I fed my kids purple broccoli the other day.
I got that growing too. And purple cauliflower.
Yep. Yep.
And purple.
And carrots and I love like having the color variety because then I don't feel bad. Like if I have mac and cheese and like carrots and like pork, it's all like one color.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in color category. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I was always taught you have to have the variety of color on your plate.
Yeah.
So
you don't get bored.
There was one year I grew orange, purple, and red carrots. Oh, that's right. Never mind. I was going, what? Where did I put the seed for that? It burned up in the fire. Never mind.
Anyway.
Well,
we're in seed heaven right now.
Ladies, let's introduce tonight's topic, shall we?
Sure. Hold on. Can I get buckled in here?
Get buckled in. Put that safety belt on there.
Because yeah.
Everybody keep all appendages, arms, legs inside the ride. Make sure your safety belt's buckled and hang on to that handle.
Exactly.
Not that handle, Renee.
Oh, I thought that was the emergency brake.
I see you.
I thought that was the ocean handle, but that's okay.
We are going to, in the next 3 shows, we are going to rip the closet door off. You know, we've all got skeletons in closets somewhere or have had.
Mm-hmm.
So we are ripping our own closet doors open. And we're going to tell you a little bit about what made us. And we decided that Renee was going to go first.
Because you know what? Because I'm down for it.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
No, that's all I have. I have a video of my son singing that, and he couldn't say kung fu. It was kung ku. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was left field. So pretty much in a nutshell, everybody just kind of knows me from Outlaws, and Cobra Paranormal. I am the weird and strange one that happens to know weird and strange things, likes the weird and strange.
Yeah, you know Keith.
Exactly.
Yes, I am definitely weird and strange.
You know, yes, I live on the East Coast. Yes, I live in Connecticut. Yes, it is paranormal headquarters of a very famous team, obviously Lorraine and Ed Warren. Pretty much nobody's ever asked me my paranormal experience or what happened to me. Only once, as we talked about it on Howie's The Orion Effect, that I had tiptoed my feet out there with Joni, talking about my little adventure as a child in a haunted house. I'm going to call that now. That almost consumed me. I'm going to say that. So about,
That's a good way to put it.
I mean, you know, because I mean, I tend to think that was the sole purpose at that point in time. Back then, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing other than that it was weird and strange and it was scary, and I stopped talking. I didn't talk about it much, never really brought it up to my parents, my grandfather, anybody, because I was going somewhere where I was told I was never to go unless I was with an adult, which was ironically in a basement.
Imagine that.
All right. So, I grew up in this, and the kicker to all of this is the house is up for sale again.
Really?
Yes. I had one of these. I'm going to say it was lucid dreaming, and then I came out of it. That's how I'm going to say it. One evening, I sat up and I was looking at the edge of my bed right here, and there was a 4 or 5-year-old little Renee with pigtails sitting at the edge of the bed going, "Hi, do you remember me?" And I said, "Well, of course." And she said, "You need to go home." And I said, "Okay." I've had multiple homes in my lifetime, and or I'm saying this timeline. I don't know. Could have been anyway. So the only thing that came to my mind was the house that I grew up in, my childhood, 2 apartments that I lived in New Haven. So I chose to go visit because I do weird and crazy and cool things. So I went to go visit. Had a nice long conversation with herself, and my little favorite step that I used to love so dearly and read books.
Nice.
Yes, I was a bookworm, which was nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I mean, I used to read the encyclopedia. I mean, it was, that's why I say I'm like weird, but not in a good way. So we had our conversation. I told her I would never let anything bad ever happen to her ever again. And poof, she was gone.
Nice.
Woke up and said, "Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I really want to see, I need to see this house. I need to see the house." And they had pictures up for it. So I literally walked through my life, and it all certain things came back in floods of rooms and everything. So I started out in the basement apartment that me, my mother, and my father had lived in. Which the only thing I can remember that is the green avocado refrigerator and the stove that I put my hand on and burnt my hand. And it was like a galley apartment, and the 3 steps that I can remember. I was telling Keith this the other day, my other thing that I can remember is my father was a mechanic at home, and he did auto body at home, and he was painting a big bird Corvette. This is why I don't like Corvettes. I don't know why. Maybe that's probably why. So I remember that. After that, bits and pieces I can remember. But fast forward that maybe 2.5, 3 years, I had this little play area that I had my mattress in, that I had like my toys, my own little cave, right? And things were going on at home. Parents were arguing, parents were separating, whatnot. And all of a sudden, this little girl, who I eerily sent a picture to Keith, it was a meme, and it looked exactly like her, and it made me remember almost everything that happened to me. It started out very innocently, playing, "Hey, I've got a like, Mom, I have an imaginary friend," which is normal, to have that imaginary friend. And we would have conversations, and she would tell me things, and I would tell her things and secrets and all this, that. So I just kind of went with it, and things progressed. There's one room in this house that I was not allowed to go to. Thanks, Michelle. Which was where my father used to do all the engine work to all his cars. He'd rip the engine block out, walk it up down the 3 steps into the basement. And I can smell it. I can smell the leaves that are on the steps to this day.
Mm-hmm.
It was his way. And he said, "You're only supposed to be down here if there's an adult," because it was dangerous. You had the water main was down there, and the water heaters were down there, and the gas meters were down there. So the door was never really locked. It was just, and This is like 1983, 84. So, I mean, it's a total different time then. So, so that the utilities people can come and go and do what they want. But I was told not to go down there because it's dangerous. Right?
Yeah.
So 6 months later, after that situation, I'm sitting on the steps and my father decides he's had enough. He's out. And he looks at my mom. Well, he looks at my mom and says, I'm gone. And he takes, now, hear this, his box of encyclopedias and walks down the stairs. And I'm on this big step looking up at him. And he goes, well, I go, Dad, are you leaving? And he's like, yeah, go talk to your mother. Talk to your mother and you'll know everything and you'll understand why. Later that night, I went in my playroom, did my thing, playing with my toys, painting, drawing. And this little girl, who I call Michelle, looked at me and said, why don't we go down to the basement? And I said, well, the basement apartment, we don't live in the basement apartment anymore. I live upstairs with my grandfather at the time. And he goes, she said, no, you're the basement. And I said, well, what's there? She goes, I got something cool to show you. Because we don't have to be alone and you don't have to be alone, because I did the words that you're not supposed to say. I'm scared and I'm alone and I don't know what's going to happen to me.
Yep.
And I'm lonely. And she changed like that. It became a total other, come on, you're coming. Let's go. Follow me. So I go down to that. So I walk out. Now, here's the thing. I walk out the front steps, not the back steps. Walk out the front steps. Walk down the driveway, walk around. 3 little steps. And the steps are, my father had put in bricks and mortared them. And there was one loose brick. And I always knew to skip over that, because if I hit it, I would have fallen and whatever.
Right.
So I open up this big, massive, creepy door to me. I push it in and I go to hit the light switch. The light switch doesn't come on, which I'm like, this is weird, because it always turns on. So then I go into the other one that my dad put in, where you remember the old, you had to pull the actual like little string down. Pull that. The light bulb goes pop. Now I'm going, oh shit, because now I'm in trouble, because they're definitely going to know I was down there because like this goes on. As I hear, psst, I turn around. Sure as shit. A child about 8 or 9, little girl, blonde hair, big black circle, drippy, goopy eyes, and says, you've been brought to me. And I said, sure shit, hell, I'm not. I'm saying to myself, I'm like, absolutely not. And I'm going to, because this is when they say I'm crazy. My little Michelle goes, no, you're here. She goes, if we're all together, we'll be all together. We'll be one. We can do everything. You'll never be scared. You'll have enough strength. Like, you'll be able to make it. You'll be able to help your mother.
Yep.
You'll be able to help your grandfather. Things are going to be better. I promise. You just have to basically like, let me in kind of moment. And I'm like sitting there, because I remember the question Joni asked me, and she said, how did you feel? And I said, I was absolutely at ease at one point, and I almost took that step. I almost took that one step forward off that step. And I said, I mean, honestly, I was scared. I pissed my pants. I'll admit it.
Happens.
So as I was about to make that step, little Michelle, it was like I was concrete. It was like mesmerized. I was like in a trance. I don't know, like the outer world was all fuzzy. but it was just that one entity that I was on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember going, I know I'm not supposed to do this. Like, and it was a voice. And now I say like the godly voice, the voice of God, you know, saying, you don't do this. You don't do this. You don't do this. This isn't the way you do this. And I'm like, okay. So, but I have in my mind, no family, no friends. I hurt. Things are being blamed on me that are not child problems. Those are adult problems being projected onto a child.
Yep.
And I just said, in my mind, I remember this. Well, what do I do? And that's literally as I made the step, little Michelle, like it was like she sideswiped me because I couldn't move. But when I moved, I turned. The dark room was no longer dark. There was light at the bottom where I was. And I even remember saying this, shit, I can move. I turned, and when I turned, I hit that brick. And that brick came flying up and hit me in the shin where I have a divot. So that's how I remember this.
Ouch.
It hurt. And I said, oh, hell no, I'm the hell out of here. And when I turned, the impact that I felt was like I got clobbered. Because I heard it was and little Michelle was gone.
Interesting.
And the thing behind me left pissed off, never to be seen of ever again. But I never saw little Michelle ever again either.
That's interesting that they both disappeared at the same time. One supposed to be trying to help you, and the other trying to. Do you think maybe they were two entities that were actually working together? Maybe two separate parts of one?
I think they were. It was two separate entities. I think little Michelle was taken by this.
Okay.
And said, okay, you need to go do my bidding. Like you need to draw them in. Yeah. And I will and I will pose as, like whatever would make her feel comfortable, like 8-9-year-old. Like I was like, 5 or 6. And I had friends in the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
There were older kids in the neighborhood. So like, so it like, and that's all I wanted was to be loved at that moment because I was so heartbroken because my dad was leaving. Right. And blaming me for it, for adult problems.
So so she baited you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just, it's a bait.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I always, years later watching, like shows like Supernatural, it's like, those are the pretty demons that come and make you sign your contract at the crossroads so that Crowley can get your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always said, it was like, I don't know. It was like, it needed me, like it needed a human vessel. I don't know if it was because it needed a place to stay and hide, knowing that why not? And then in my turn, would I have ended up gone missing somewhere and out recruiting other people?
It's a good question.
Because that does happen too. Like that's with the lore of the black-eyed children is like, they come into the house and obviously they, there's other things, but
yeah, how
are they not? You need a human vessel at some point because you just can't be just chilling out.
You need that direct energy source.
And why not?
You can survive off of everything around you. That's like living off of snacks, but in the end, you need that steak dinner to be able to continue to survive.
And that's what a lot of entities feed off of is our energy, our emotion, especially the negative.
Definitely. I mean, and 5-6-year-old little girl, that's an innocent little child.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for perfect. I mean, it's the perfect 10 in my opinion. I mean, come on. We all know your story, Keith. That's like, and that's always the same thing. It's always like at 6 years old, I started seeing things, or 6 years old, I started hearing things, or 6 years old, How many cases have we heard that? How old were they when they had their first paranormal experience?
Way too many.
Well, and it's I think it's because at 6 you are starting to form the words to be able to express. You have the ability to rationalize to a point at 6. I look at my daughter who just turned 7, and
Go ahead.
let's look at her. She's at that vulnerable state, and I catch her talking to herself, and I'm like, are we talking to somebody? Are we talking to something? I have to be very careful with her.
Yeah.
So having a 6-year-old right now 7, I get that. Like I see how she has been able to now describe things, and she can see things, and she can verbalize, just rationalize out in her head. Okay, this is this and this is that. And then at 6, we're still emotionally developing at different aspects of our life. So therefore, I feel like 6 is a very, very vulnerable age for children, because you can make that comprehension of, okay, yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah, I can keep a secret. Yeah, I can lie. Okay, I can do this. And you want to be my friend? I need everybody to like me and accept me. We have that at the age of 6. So, and then you being put in that emotional turmoil, that was the perfect
storm.
Yeah.
Perfect storm.
And one thing I was just reminded of from Spirit, that's why I went, oh yeah, okay, thank you. That I haven't thought, I really hadn't thought about before. At the ages of 5 or 6, you're going either, in preschool, kindergarten roundup, and you're going into kindergarten school. All of a sudden you are around all of these other children, and it's kind of chaos at first. These kids' emotions are all over the place because they don't know each other. They don't know how to get along. They pick on each other. They push each other. They bully each other. Now, we don't know which ones came back to cause issues and which ones came back to help yet.
True.
We don't know what that child brought from home. Their parents may have an attachment. The home may have a haunting. We don't know. But then all of a sudden, they're all thrown into one classroom, sitting next to each other, sharing energy. And Renee, you know all about that.
I know all about it, because isn't it funny? What grade?
What do you do for a living?
Kindergarten.
Yeah. And something I was chatting with Renee the other night about. In my timeline that I remember, I was 6 when mine happened. And I was 6 when Dad left. When Mom and Dad separated. My 2 sisters remember the fact that I was 9. I know I was 6. I know it. And here, I know it. But when Mom passed, we found the divorce papers. I did the math. They said I was 9. No, I was 6.
Well, we also came to that a conclusion. I said, I was 6. You said that you were 6. Your paperwork says 9. What is a 6? An inverted 9. What's an inverted 9? A 6. Yours was an attic. Mine was a basement.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And I mean and things didn't stop from there either. I mean, they continued.
Yeah.
I later on, like I did with yours, like I don't know why I always waited to research that house, but I did. It was a tenement house. It was in City Point in New Haven. It was a Polish, Irish, Italian neighborhood, immigrants. A lot of death, a lot of disease, fire. House next door to it caught fire. The house next to it got caught on fire. So, and for some reason, nothing ever happened to that house. And the house that was, when you're looking at the house that's to the left of it, literally in my grandfather's kitchen, you could open the window, knock on her door, on her window, and say, "Hey, can I have a cup of sugar?" Like literally, it was like this close to
that close.
That close. you know, and so that, you know, like it just a lot of weird and strange things happened on that street, you know. Then coming to realize, you know, there's a major hospital that's, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes away, you know, so there's a lot of stuff that happens, and that street turned to being violent. That's why we left and we kind of moved out, and things happened at the new house.
Yeah.
Which, if you add the numbers up at the new house, was 6, just like the house I left. And that house, that's the one that we had down into the basement, which was a duplex, and we shared with the other people on the other side. But I always thought it was really cool. You come down to the stairs of the basement, we had this old slammy, you know, old-fashioned screen door.
Oh yeah,
but
the wood ones.
Exactly. But the cool thing about this is that the stairs, I could get in between the stairs. So Mom put some stuff there, like, you know, like the Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. But I used to go hide. Look at this again. Like, needed to go to a hidey hole, needed to go into somewhere dark. And that's where I found the Ouija board.
Imagine that. And just an interesting coincidence, because you and I have a lot of coincidences. Underneath the basement stairs is where Mom kept the Christmas decorations.
But the weird thing is that Ouija board, come to find out, like years later, that was my stepfather's grandmother's. And I said, well, how did it get in with our stuff, like coming from New Haven when we moved in?
Yeah.
And all I can think of is that she threw it in a box when he left his mother's house to move in with my mom and my grandfather and me.
Yeah.
And when we left there, it appeared, but I don't remember it ever being at Howard Avenue. I don't remember seeing it until we moved to Park Street.
When I was a child, me and my sisters found Mom's Ouija board, and we would get it out and play with it when she wasn't home.
Yeah, we did that.
I do believe that added insult to injury. But once I started learning about the paranormal and what can come out of those things, out of the portals that you open, you know, I asked Mom, you know, what happened to that? Oh, I threw that away a long time ago. No, she didn't. We found it hidden behind her dresser in her bedroom after she passed. Now, she did have dementia. It is possible that she didn't remember. However, she didn't have dementia when I asked her. So when I asked her, she was purposely, no, I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it is now bound. What came out of it was put back into it, and it is bound.
Or did she get rid of it and did it come back?
No, I am in possession of said Ouija board. It is bound. It is salted. It is properly taken care of. However, I still have to find a proper place to put it to rest in the ground. So it's sitting in my Mustang.
Just put it behind the stairs.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. No, I'm so kidding. I'm kidding.
To go with the people behind under the stairs. We did
I
we
hated that
use
little
that?
kid, by the way.
Yes, the neighborhood kids and me. Did we do that? Yes. Did some of the older, now I'm in a new family, and the older cousins who are, you know, like 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, were they doing that stuff at family get-togethers? And did I walk in and say, and open the door and said, what the hell's going on? You don't want to open that thing because I don't want to see what the hell I saw when I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, shut up. You don't know nothing. Shut up. Be quiet. You want to stay here.
That's the thing. We do know something. We're drinking up.
Nick brings up something funny because, well, not funny, but interesting. You know, he said that, you know, his sister got a Ouija board on her 9th birthday. We used to buy those at Toys R Us.
They're still around.
And now they have pretty little pink ones for little girls.
Oh, better yet.
Right. And they have like.
Go ahead. Because I
was going to say, I mean, people would bring a Ouija board to a birthday party and give it to a kid as a toy. And I was raised completely different. So I knew what a Ouija board was, and I knew what not to do and not to touch it with certain people, and I could only do it this way and do it that way. And I used to sit there and go, this is a kid's toy. I was a child going, this is a kid's toy.
Hasbro.
That's not what I was
Hasbro.
taught.
By Hasbro.
Yeah. Interesting,
Right.
quick interesting story. The planchette from Mom's. You know, there's the little clear circle in the middle. And in the middle of that circle, there is the little pointy arrow that goes down. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. You can turn it over. It's pointy. It'll hurt your finger if you push too hard. My sisters were using it one night, and it was moving. And that little arrow broke out of that clear circle and shot my sister in the forehead and stuck. And there's a little hole in that planchette. I could go get it and bring it in, but I'm not going to because I've got everything bound. But she doesn't remember that. I do. She doesn't.
It needed a blood sacrifice is the wrong word, but it needed human sustenance.
Energy.
wrong.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've seen some pretty messed up things come out of a Ouija board. And then you turn around and you think our parents were sitting there using that? Like, what were they doing? You know, and is that part of the reason why we have things that are happening? You know, and
I mean, it's a good point. Really good point.
Right when you said that, I got a lot of pressure in my chest. That's interesting because we don't know.
Well, you know, we live by our parents' consequences.
Yeah.
If they're doing it in the home and they're messing with stuff in the home, it's not going to go after them. It's going to go after the innocent. It's going to go after the ones that they can convince. You know, so then I mean, I turn around and I usually point it back at the parents. If I come across a kid that has problems, I immediately look at the parents and go, "So what are you doing?" You know, like behind everybody's back, because this doesn't smell right. And you'd be surprised at how many parents, you know, oh, well, we got drunk one night and we decided that we were going to do this.
That was the cool thing. Like when that thing came out in the TV commercials, I remember it. I mean, it was like, have a fun seance, you know, like, you know, and that was like the height, you know, you had, at that time, I think Amityville came out too. You know, you had Poltergeist, Amityville, Psycho. I mean, you had a lot of these movies. You know, one of my personal favorites that I laugh at, Ouija board, witch board. Those are like really C and D, but those are my favorite ones.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you know, your parents got divorced. My parents got divorced. Mom had a Ouija board, messed with it when she was a teenager. You know, this is vintage Ouija board.
Oh, yeah.
This is vintage.
Yeah,
it's not the original ones that first came out.
It's not the typical one with the brown backing. That's the one that like from the 80s.
Right.
The one my grandmother had was blue. The box was white and it had blue. That was how old that one was.
So you add that, you know, the possibility that she could have brought something forth. And what do? They cause division to feed off. And then you add in my father's side of the family, the blood curse from Germany that came over. I mean, that is a perfect storm right there. And that's pretty much what
exactly. You know, and nowadays, you know, like Lisa Campbell said, you know, she said now they have fancy ones. I mean, I was in the mall the other day, and we all know Wednesday is this big thing with the kids. And here's Wednesday, Ouija board. And this mother is buying one for her niece's birthday. And I tapped her on her shoulder and I went, do you know what you're about to go do? Oh, you have to believe it in order to. I was like, okay.
No, you do not. That's the perfect. That's the perfect combination right there. Oh, I'm not going to believe this, so I'm just going to do this.
And it's the same way with curses. I'm going to go against somebody's words here because I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yes.
Curses, hexes, spell.
Yep.
A lot of people say, I'll say a lot of people. A lot of people say that can only affect you if you believe it and allow it. I disagree with that. Because an entity can affect you, even though you did not give her permission to.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody pushes shade at you, that is going to affect you until you realize it and put a stop to it. So it's important to be able to tell when that's happening. So yeah, I get the whole it's not going to affect you unless you believe it and allow it. But yet I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. I'll agree to disagree, but yet I agree. But I really think that we really need to start paying attention again.
No, I agree. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's like telling somebody that the weather in Scotland is not going to affect the weather here. No, it does.
oh, it does. Definitely.
You know, everything affects everything. So I truly believe that if you acknowledge the fact that you have a curse and you acknowledge the fact, say you have a hex and you accept it and you go, I'm not going to let it bother me. You have said, okay, I acknowledge you're here, but you know what? You're going to stay over there.
I'm going to.
So you have to accept, you have to acknowledge, and you deal with it as it comes, right? Because if you continue to shove it into the closet and you continue to shove it back, that closet is going to fill up and the door is going to start bulging and then it's all going to come out. When if you would have just accepted it to begin with and dealt with it right then and there and laid your lines and laid your protections out, you wouldn't be in this predicament.
Right. That's an interesting example you gave because my first paranormal experience, the bathroom closet door, did exactly that.
You know, and speaking of like closets, that's when you said that, you know, like we're opening up the closets. What in it, when you go through those pictures, you know, you go into the bedroom that my mother and I shared. The closet's a little different, but I used to go in that closet and I used to pick the plaster off the wall.
As I did as I was laying in bed.
I used to pick the paint. I mean, granted, this was probably lead paint. Did I eat it? No, because I even said to my mother, "Did you ever get me tested to make sure like it didn't have like lead poisoning or something?" You know, and I used to pick at that. They had to lay carpet, and the way that green shag carpeting.
Oh, that nasty green. And why did that come to my head?
Now this is the cool thing about this. This green matched the color of my grandfather's Chevy Nova. So to me, like I always say, he must have went and bought that to match the car because that's, you know. But green wasn't his favorite color. It was red. Anyway, so they put it, because I was picking at it, they actually put the carpet up the back side of the closet. So I'd stop picking.
You know, that's interesting. You guys, when talking about that, now I never did that, but my 14-year-old who passed away, we lived in an old Amish built house. And so the plumbing was all on one side of the house. And his room used to be what they would call the attic, or like the place where they stored stuff, and they turned it into a bedroom. And that was his room. And he used to pick the paint off the wall, except for he used to do designs. He'd pick and I'll have to show you the pictures. I took pictures of it after he passed away because I didn't realize he was doing that. Jeez. Told you you're just going to see her come in and out. But I didn't know he was doing that until after he passed away, and I went to go clean up his room. That's interesting because he'd sit in that room, and that he.
Oh,
yeah,
Renee.
Yes.
I just remembered this.
What?
When my bed was by the window in my bedroom, after Mom moved it, you know, the whole toy box incident.
We talked about this because wait till you hear this. This is Quinky Dink.
I remember what I mean, I made holes to the laugh, but I also made a face. And that face looks like what was taken out of me. That memory was not here till right now.
Well, because the other thing that's a coinky dinky with us is that I said to Keith when we were talking about the house. Because he goes, I like going through the pictures, which was like, I was all excited that was 39 pictures too. Like, it was just weird of me. So like, I literally walked the basement, the landlord's house, my grandfather's apartment, and then the other part, which is the basement, not the basement, the attic. And I used to, before they closed it in to make 2 separate rooms, that was another place I used to go and just ride my tricycle and just kind of hang out because I thought it was cool.
Hey, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. I told him, I said, because he was talking about Toy Box, and I said, oh, you don't even want to know. So my mother, the way that we had our bed, because we shared a bed, the chimney was off to the wall, and the room, oh, you're going to freak out. The wallpaper was sunflowers.
You can't make that up with
everywhere, like sunflower wallpaper. So she had her bureau here, and I had my Raggedy Ann and Andy toy box. Then the closet was there. The window is here. Now this is back in the time. There's no window safety stuff for kids. There's no, because kids knew not to go near a window because you were told what? Not to go near a window. So I used to jump on the bed to jump onto the bureau, and I used to jump in my toy box.
And after Mom rearranged my room, I got mad. So I was going to show her. I used to go, at bedtime, I used to go and run into my bedroom and jump into my bed. So I purposely ran into my bedroom and jumped in my toy box and hurt myself just to make her feel bad. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't know any better at the time.
I thought that was like a weird coinky dinky that we had shared. It was like, yeah, our timelines, we were supposed to be for whatever reason this plane of existence.
We agreed to come back. We all of us.
Not this time.
See, Patrick's bed was next to the window. Like, he purposely put his bed next to the window. Yeah, I never told the kids how to rearrange their room or whatnot. It was...
My bed's next to the window.
See, my bed, I'm claustrophobic.
My bed is next.
I have bad claustrophobia. So my bedroom window is always, almost always open, and I have to have my bed next to the window.
I mean, I've always figured it was easily to tiptoe out the window.
Oh, he did that. Trust me, he did that. Yeah, he'd hop down and he'd slide right out, and go do God knows what. I love him. I love him. You see this gray hair? Yeah. But that's interesting because, yeah, when he picked at the paint on his wall, the kids always used to talk about a farmer that they'd see, the littles. And you got to realize I usually had 22 people in my home all at once. I had kids that I took care of and whatnot. So I'd have a group of littles come up to me and tell me about this old farmer that they'd see and everything else. And when I moved his bed, he had...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then he had a turtle. I'm trying to figure out where the turtle came from. But yeah, he weird little things he'd pick. You guys really got my brain going with that now. Because I thought it was interesting when I found it. When I found it and I was cleaning out his room, I was, just like that. I sat there and I looked at it and I really studied it, trying to just put myself where he was before he passed away. And that's crazy.
And the other thing that I was thinking as listening to you was like, as we moved from apartment to place to whatever, even my college dorm rooms, because I started thinking about numbers again. like how I did off in the beginning. Every number, every room, every college dorm room or apartment number or house number was either a 3, a 6, or a 9.
369.
369. It's always been that way. Some
Yep.
way, somehow.
The
369.
golden ratio. Well, there's a deja vu. Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Fibonacci sequence is what they call it. Thank you for that. I was sitting here trying to remember what it was. And yeah, thank you. It is a golden spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And you find it everywhere in nature, in flower
Yep.
petals, in shells of ocean creatures. It's everywhere. It's enveloped in the human body.
Mhm.
It's everywhere. It's in space.
The golden
It's in our galaxy. Our planets and our galaxies actually set up that way. It's creepy and crazy how it all fits together.
Yep. And then that was something that I always said to a certain group of people. And then that's how I was told, hey, well, did you ever think about it? This is why you do the things and work the way you work and know the things that you know.
So the golden number is 1.618. I don't know if that's what I'm thinking of, but I know that our atoms are made up of it. Yeah, I just lost where I was going with that.
Our
Photon.
DNA strands, are you saying that? Maybe.
Do I?
Maybe the DNA strands, is that where you were going with it? I don't know.
I think so. I mean, we're made up of
Atoms, electrons, protons.
atoms, electrons, protons.
We are light beings. We are made of photons. Everything is made of photons. Everything.
Exactly. And some of us shine. That's why I've always said the reason why, that beginning of my journey, which is, it's not like this really big scary thing, but I mean I stopped talking after that happened. I went back to wetting the bed because I was afraid it was coming back for me. I did change, and people noticed. But then it was okay. Went to Catholic school, and the nuns didn't like me for some reason.
Imagine that. I used to take my sister's Barbie dolls, and they thought it was weird that I was playing with their Barbie dolls. But I was taking their Barbie dolls and ripping the legs off and the arms off and switching them around and then hiding the heads.
I mean,
and I just
Barbie dolls.
started watching a show called Dexter on Netflix. And I'm not going to go into what it's about, but if you want to know what it's like to be in my head back then, that is
we have a frog brother. May the fourth be with you always. Yes, but it's also Sith Day. It's the Revenge of the Sith. Just saying. No, I'm joking.
5 portal today opened up.
Yes.
So,
go ahead.
May, just so real quick, so everybody knows, May we get a break energetically from the astrology. So enjoy. Take care of yourself. Get things done on your to-do list. You want to go outside and sit in the backyard with a beer, do it. Just enjoy the break and let things flow. Don't fight, just let things flow. That's what I did today. I let things flow. You know what? I accept where I'm at in my life. I accept that you are guiding me to something and away from something at the same time. I accept, and I'm going to help you by going out and doing something. And so I made some phone calls and got some things done because I couldn't do too much today because I couldn't move. But I could make phone calls and stuff. So I got some things accomplished.
And that's so eerily considering the video that I watched yesterday. You couldn't move either. You had to turn your whole body because you couldn't move your neck then.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Yesterday wasn't that bad. When I woke up this morning, nah, we ain't doing this. Not today.
Yeah.
And when I call in, it's not good. And chiropractor, I finally got to the chiropractor middle of the afternoon. He couldn't hardly get me to adjust. He was questioning. He was going the noises he was making. Oh, ooh, and like, dude, I know. Just do it. Just do it.
Don't give me the soundtrack of it. Just do it, please.
Yeah.
That's a frog.
Yeah, no.
Ribbit.
Today was kind of weird. I've been in a mood.
I think
I've been in a mood for
I think we've all been in a mood.
I'm in a cleaning out mood.
Yeah. Getting rid of clutter. Not only physical clutter, but clutter, people clutter. Yes, that's a thing.
Getting rid of drama.
What I'm going through right now should be driving me absolutely batshit crazy.
Honey, you're already there.
Well, maybe that's the point.
You're the conductor of the train.
It doesn't worry me. I'm not scared. I'm actually at peace. If what transpires is going to transpire that I think is going to transpire, I don't care.
Exactly.
It gives me a new beginning. I've been there before. I ain't scared. I'll figure it out. I'm good.
Exactly.
I got my dog. I got my cat. I got my house. I got you. I've got everybody watching. I ain't worried. And that's not me.
No, that really is. But you know what? But it's refreshing to be the opposite.
Time warp. You know what? Today did feel like a time warp.
Not wrong.
It felt like everything moved so fast, yet slow. And it just...
Yeah. I actually felt like the day after my car accident where I could not get out of bed or go to the bathroom by myself because of the pain. Sarah, an old teammate from Cobra, she made a post, going on. Did we have another time shift? Because nothing is right. Yes, we did. It is happening. The timelines are correcting themselves. And sometimes some of the old needs to come back in that in order to be corrected.
Agreed.
That's okay. But it is showing us, hey, this part of your life doesn't need to be here anymore. And we need to accept that. And that's kind of what we are doing with the next 3 shows here. We are ripping our closet door off and talking about what happened to us. And we're realizing, you know what? There's a lot of stuff from our past that does not belong in our future. It's not just people. It's ideas, it's thinking, it's feeling, it's actions, it's words, it's everything.
It's an old way of living. You have to put the old way of living aside, and you have to really sow your garden, right? So you really have to till that ground up. And like for us here in New Mexico, it's monsoon season, so it rained for the first time really well a couple of nights ago, and we're expecting rain again tonight, which please let the heavens open up and let it rain here. We are so beyond dry. Our drought's pretty bad, and I thought I've thought that in the past, but I'm looking at it now going, yeah, we are really dry. My dreams have been, kind of strange. People are coming forward in my dreams, and I sit there and I go, why are they coming forward? And then they're talking about certain things, and I can't remember what they're saying, which is not like me. Usually I can remember, but they get certain things out of their mouth and it's gone. And I'm putting a lot of things in my past to rest. Where I live in Cruces. I live in Las Cruces, so I'm a border girl. I am not from the Berg. I would never live in the Berg. I hate going to the Berg. When I go to Albuquerque, I hit the gas pedal on 25 and I try to blink and let it go on by. I pray for your daughter because that is a dangerous place to live. Where we're turning into that place now.
Well, where you live is just a melting pot of all weird, strange, crazy, and paranormal in La Cruces.
Oh, I live right off the El Camino Real Trail where the Buffalo Soldiers, roam and everything else. And this was Geronimo's land. I live in a very unique place. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, really.
Trying to dig through all of that to see what's going on in her home. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, Abby, we were talking about that age, and Abby has somebody that she has connected with, and it's an old spirit. And I love her because when she'll go on, her ghost walk with me, and she'll have her little reader and everything else, and she'll ask him, "Are you hungry? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? Are you cold? Are you lonely?" But she only talks to the ones that are safe. It's really weird. She knows which ones are safe. And she has I do believe he is Inaki, Indian that is with her at all times. And so when things come through the house, they just pass right by. I'm on their path.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're protected too.
He works
because that one night,
yeah,
I had to have a very serious conversation with a whole group of natives outside of your home in order to get through. They had to
like, no, I'm safe.
Before they would allow me to walk in. Could have gotten in,
very
probably, but hey, dude, it's okay. I'm here to help.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that group of Indians. It's yeah.
I like what little hair I have left.
Right. She lives in the area where the Bloom Fiesta is. So that's south of South Albuquerque, which is pretty. That's pretty rotten.
So I was looking for a said picture to kind of like describe what they looked like. Are you ready to see this?
Yes. That's interesting.
And I'm going to put the phone down and I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
This is my teddy bear that I've had since the day I was born from my grandfather. This was bought at the hospital because they said that I wasn't going to live very long. And he went down and bought this.
You want to know something interesting?
What?
I had a very similar teddy bear about half that size with black eyes. I mean, for the naysayers, a lot of teddy bears have black eyes.
Yeah.
But some don't. But I had to have the one with black eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting is I don't know if it's, and we'll get into this when we dig into mine, but I preferred dolls and stuffed animals without eyes and faces. And that's a thing here in New Mexico. A lot of our dolls do not, like the Amish, they don't have faces. They don't have anything because we believe that spirits can come through them. And so the only animals that I ever really accepted that had faces and eyes were the ones that my grandmother made me. And I was the only grandchild that she would make them for. And I knew because she made them that they were made with love and care and her energy. Yeah. And so I accepted those. But even now, like Avelina will not play with a doll that has a face. And that's not by me not giving it to her. She'll go, "No, Mom, I don't like this." And she would prefer to have a doll with no face.
How many investigations have we been on where there was a doll that had something in it?
I don't like dolls.
Oh, my grandmother collected porcelain dolls.
Porcelain.
And
solid porcelain. They don't move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Solid
No,
porcelain.
they moved.
Okay.
They were movable.
Oh, yours were? Okay.
Yeah, she collected like the actual like collectible porcelain dolls, and she had over like 500 of these things in one room. And if I went and showed you the picture, you'd be like, "Oh my
No.
god!"
Keith is like with dolls, like I am with clowns, except one.
I didn't used to be like that.
My room was clowns growing up.
I didn't used to be like that until I had a case in Omaha. And no, it was Lincoln, Lincoln, Nebraska, with a set of twins. And they had a completely solid porcelain doll, small one, sitting, arms out. Okay. Reports of that thing talking to them and everything else. So when I go up there, I had sigils ready to grab onto this thing so nothing jumped into me. And I took it off of the top of the bookcase, China Hutch, wherever they had it on. And as I was bringing it down in between these sigils, it literally started moving in my hands. The other investigators saw it and heard it. And so it very quickly went into the container that we had set up for it. And it is now in the Warren Museum because it was a case for Chris. We did that for him.
Mm-hmm.
But when something solid that can't move starts moving in your hands, I almost just went, like, nope, can't let it go. Just put it in, shut the lid. And that thing, we had it in the trunk of my Mustang. We could hear it all the way home. So I just cranked the country music and that pissed it off. But we could literally hear it screaming, "Let me out."
Yeah.
I'm going to let me out. After we got that thing out of there and we dealt with one other entity in there, their life's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not expect that thing to move. So when you're dealing with cases, you need to expect the unexpected and be ready for it.
Be prepared for it.
Yeah.
Somehow. You know what I mean? Somehow be prepared for it because you never know. You don't know. Client says one thing, you walk in, and that one thing changes to something else, and you have you need to have a tool bag full of anything and everything that possibly could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to have your protections and your backups.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember? Because you guys would, if I asked anybody probably about 5 years younger than me, they wouldn't remember. Do you remember how we used to make dolls? You'd go down to the craft store, you'd get a doll, then you'd build the dress out, and okay. So before my grandfather died, he had bought me this ballerina doll. And I shit you not, if I were as an adult, I could put my arms around the dress like this. And it was on a stand and it was in a ballerina pose and everything else. That doll is the one that did me in after he died. I had the worst experience and my parents did not believe me when I tell them, no, the doll is, it's coming after me. They moved it out of my room one night and I had to go use the bathroom. And I tell you what, it attacked me in front of my brothers. And my brothers were like, no, we need to get rid of this doll. And of course, this is about the time that Chucky comes out.
Yep.
Okay, the My Buddy doll. And my dad's like, no, until my dad watched it move one night. My dad's Indian. And my dad's like, no, we're burning it. We're getting rid of it. My mother goes, you are not going to get rid of that doll. And they packed it away and they put it in the storage room. So when we moved to our new house, we had a maid's quarters in the back, just a little room. And my mother had put the doll in its perspective box and she had put it on the shelf. And I walked in there and I said, you need to get rid of that doll. I knew that doll was in there. Like, I did not watch her put it in that box. I didn't watch nothing, but I knew that doll was in there. And I continued to have nightmares about that doll. until I moved away. I don't know what happened to that doll. I don't care what happened to that doll. I never want to see that doll again.
I understand that. Teddy Ruxpin. Remember Teddy Ruxpin?
I still have mine.
Yeah, stick a Metallica tape in that or an Ozzy Osbourne tape.
have
That's
mine too.
creepy.
Oh no, Cypress Hill. I'm just saying, Cypress Hill or Bone Thugs and Harmony. It's awesome. A little bit of Nirvana Bleach album. Yeah. Teddy Ruxpin's golden. It's like the only tape player I still have.
Some of the toys we had as kids were just downright creepy.
I mean,
Oh, what about the glowworm?
my son had, instead of a glowworm, he had a seahorse.
Oh, I remember the seahorse. I wanted the
I love
seahorse. Or the
seahorses
poppies.
to this day. In my toolbox
Cabbage
at work, one of the first pieces of plastic I found on the floor, because when they back the barrel up and they got to purge it, a bunch of plastic comes out all
Yeah.
over. It's shaped like a seahorse. So I picked it up and I put it in my toolbox. I used to raise seahorses. I want to get seahorses again in a saltwater tank, but I'm not ready. But I love seahorses. I don't know why, but I do. Was I a mermaid at one time? I don't know.
I don't know.
Or merman, not maid.
Merman.
Urgh.
Oh, I don't know, Keith. You look really cute in a couple of shells. I'm just
I got
saying.
nothing to fill them out.
That don't matter. It don't matter. I think a set of purple ones would go really, really nice with you. Maybe even
I
turquoise. Turquoise
I
purple.
do look good in purple. Just saying.
Yeah. Nick, speaking of dolls, Nick can chime in with this. So on one of the investigations at the Masonic Temple, Adrian came across this doll and its head was cut off and a glass dome was put on it. And it was stuffed with things. There's like 36 things that was stuck in this head. And every time you shook it, right, something would pop up. Oh, Jeremy has it now. Everybody freaked out over this doll. And here I am. It's me. I'm like, well, I'm going to open this thing up. I want to see what's in here. I literally opened that doll's head up and I started taking everything out individually and writing it down on a piece of paper, what was in the doll's head. Everybody freaked.
Of course.
I put everything back.
I have seen what's inside Stretch Armstrong. Just saying.
Me too. But this doll was really cool. I kind of understand the purpose of the doll. And it was a conjuring doll, I do believe.
Makes sense.
To somebody specific.
Oh, of course. Because everything that was in that doll's head had to do with that said person.
Mm-hmm.
That said person. And they were trying to see who could get. I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that the Masons did it. It was just found in the temple. It might have been something that was brought to them. That a lot of that stuff sometimes happens. They bring things in and the Masonic people will take it in and kind of like we do, like, okay, we'll put it up for protection and whatnot. But yeah, Jeremy has that doll now. And like, there's nothing scary about the doll. It's actually, I found quite comforting.
There's some dolls that I don't have a problem with, but other ones I look at like, no, not happening.
Yeah, I didn't.
We were investigating as a team a place to, practice, EVPs, whatnot. And one of my investigators was really eyeing this doll. It was sitting on a piano. And I said, don't sit down and play the piano and don't grab that doll. What do? They sit down at the piano and grab the doll. Next thing you know, investigator isn't here anymore. Somebody else is. So we had to take this investigator outside, let this investigator hug a tree, remove something, and they're like, what the just happened? What how did I get out of here? It's like, well, it's like this. So if you're not sure about something on an investigation, don't touch it.
Exactly. Ask
like if
somebody
you're-
else.
If you're on a date and you're not sure about it, don't touch it. You don't know what you're gonna get.
So okay, so Renee, you showed me that picture, or you showed everybody the picture,
Yes.
right?
Still here.
Now, it's interesting because I live in obviously Indian country.
Yes.
Those are quite common here. I see that all the time, and I might want if that's what little Michelle looked like. I can tell you that little Michelle probably wasn't little. I bet you she wasn't a child at
Oh,
all.
100%.
See, I always say, no, I don't know Rebecca Rose at all. Sorry, I wanted to answer that. I always say when I go on an investigation, if you're dealing with an old woman or a child, we're going to be very leery and we're going to question everything, because you know what? In my heart of hearts, a child does not stay
No.
here.
Absolutely.
So if you have a child that passes away in a home and you have this child coming back, I always question, is it the grief that lets something in and it's using that child to capture it, to mimic, so you can hold on to that. I'm not saying that your child won't come back to you, because they do come back to you, but you will know that it is your child. It's when you question it and then you're like, well, maybe that is my child. That's when it hook, line, and gets you. It's, oh well, I put that doubt, that maybe I could be, that person's child. And then that's how they get you to believe. And a lot of cases where I find that kids have had an imaginary friend, they're not imaginary.
No, they are not.
Like, I do not in imaginary.
I mean, my mother, because of the stopping of talking and other things that happened, Mom did the right thing, went to go seek help, went and talked to the people, and they were like, well, I don't know. Then they started putting suggestive things into my head and put up. And this is so weird, because the fucking episode that I watched the other night that was talking about Keith's show, because I had this thing of a red door happening to me. I think somebody put up a red door and put memories behind it, and was trying to pre-program that my mother and other family members were instigating or doing things. Because this is a time period where they used to pre-program your head saying that you have been this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And my mother got me away from that said doctor. And it was weird. I just started randomly talking after that.
Interesting. Speaking of interesting, it is 8:25. We still have 9 people watching. Do we want to run on a little bit? We just got somebody new popping on here.
Kids said they're
welcome,
seeing
John. Thanks for watching. Completely agree. When kids say they are seeing monsters in the room, we should pay attention. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But do we want to take a quick 1 or 2 minute break to have a bathroom break and then jump back on for a little bit, or?
It's fine with me.
I'm good. We'll tally that up as number 2 if you need to go.
Nice conversation.
I am 5'6", 118. I don't have a big.
You're mini Jesus. You're little Jesus, and you're tiny, and it's okay.
You just got corrected by Raymond. Short Jesus.
I know. I
heard
did.
His voice
Trust
in
me.
my
I
ear.
just heard the ringing going. Woman,
Thank
he's
you,
not.
brother.
He's short Jesus.
Thank you, brother.
Hold on, wait. How do we know that Jesus wasn't short, though? I mean, the Bible doesn't say he was 6'1", 6'5", right? Because then he would have been a Nephilim.
He was. The picture of Jesus that we use today, the white guy,
That ain't Jesus. I know the name of the person that the church used. Hey, we're going to paint him like this. You use this guy. And the guy like murdered his brother. Literally murdered his brother. And they used that guy as the picture of Jesus. I kid you not. Do some homework. It's real.
I go off of what Leonardo da Vinci painted.
Bronze feet, curly hair. He's from that area over there. He ain't going to look like us. Just saying. It drives me nuts sometimes. Sorry. Okay, if you two are okay, I'm gonna go take a quick
Go do what you gotta go do.
break, and I'll be right
May the P be with
back.
you.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, especially for me. I mean, it's that's a shortened, concise, and hitting the bullet points. I mean, other weird things happened in that house to me too, prior and after, and every house I went to. I've always, some random stranger came up to me once and just said that, you have to dim your light because they see you too much.
I've had that happen
Like
too.
they just see you too much. You've got to turn it down a little bit. And that's, maybe they won't come and bother, because I mean, the college I went to was haunted. They had the first cemetery in Franklin, Massachusetts, named after Ben Franklin. And the children's library was built on, guess what? Headstones. And they were actual headstones that were actually on the wall that you could see. So, I mean, I they've been with me. It follows me everywhere.
Renee, I kind of understand that, because every time I go to move, every time I move, I find myself in a position of massive energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wonder, do I choose this place, or does the place choose me?
Me and Keith have had that.
And
too.
Yeah, and I've just come to the conclusion that, you know what? I'm just going to head and I'm just going to accept it, that if I choose the house or the house chooses me, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
I've always just kind of, all right, whether it's bad, whether it's positive, whether it's something that I need to be there, obviously, and I need to learn something, or I need to do something, or all of the above. And I just kind of accept it. And when my time's done, my time's done. Oh, that was really fast. Now I'm questioning if he washed his hands.
Always.
Hi.
And that's where, like I've always said, something that Raymond always used to say too, and Keith has said it, and a lot of other people on the network, spirits are clients too. So maybe, what I mean? So they can be. So who's to say that the reason why you're drawn to that place is because you're going to help somebody?
And that's true. I'm one of those people that I really don't go on investigations. And the investigations that I do go on, I notice that if I need to be there, like I get invited, like, oh, you need to come out with us. No, it's fine. No, it's okay. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'll sit at home and I'll tell you. But I'll do a remote, but don't expect me to go.
That's me.
But here,
that's me now.
Yeah. Nick will tell you the last massive major investigation I went on to, Adrian and I get halfway there and I'm looking at her going, oh, well, I know why I'm being called here. I know what I need to do. You guys go do your investigation and it might intertwine with what I need to do.
Yeah.
But here, I'm going to go take care of this. And this is why I'm here. I'm not here to do necessarily the investigation. I'm here to clear something up. And it was like that with the previous investigation. And then the investigation before that. I don't know. I don't go unless
you're drawn.
Like you said.
I get that.
They're clients. I completely agree.
So I mean,
I'm sending her to you, Renee.
So
I'm sending her to you.
She's haunting you.
You know, but that's like, you know, like that. I mean, that's what I've not talked much about it because everybody just, you know, then again, sometimes I don't know, because they don't know how to take me. So therefore they just assume, you know, oh, you know, Connecticut, which is one of the original 13, you know, a lot of stuff has gone down. I lived in very well-known, documented, either haunted locations or other things were associated with that. I mean, I can just put this out there. Go look up the New Haven Green. If you actually pull a aerial view from the top and you see how the crossways and the sidewalks are put in a certain predicament and placed in a certain way. The green is also, when I found this out, was right about the same time. The green, which you have 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 churches, so you have graveyards. The green is actually, and when I found this out later on, I stopped walking on it because we were walking on dead people. So they just took up headstones and like chucked them or moved them, and I was like, "There's dead people under me. I'm staying. No, I'm walking around. I'm not going through it." You know,
I've always found that where I live, it's native energy. Whether I lived in Hawaii, I've lived in Washington, I've lived in Wisconsin. I always find myself on native
well,
land.
have you ever
Drawn.
Well,
Always.
There.
Always.
well, there's got to be a reason why, and either some life there's native somewhere.
Well, my dad was almost 100% native. And he's my adoptive dad. I respect the natives.
That too. And
I respect native land. I respect native ways, whether it is, the Polynesian, Samoan ways, or whether it is, XYZ. I've always respected it. I've always cherished it. I've always loved it. I've always wanted to learn more about it. And then now I have grandchildren, and my grandchildren, my kids are native. My grandchildren are native on both sides, and my nieces, my nephews are Mayan, Aztec descendant, and so I don't know. I always, I don't know. I enjoy it, though. I'm not going to say that I don't like it. I have no idea where your coloring book for homework went. The joys of homeschooling. You think I would be organized, but I'm not.
So that's just part of me, which then that led down of what I do, and apparently what I'm good at doing, which is probably said, "Hey, look here. You're not looking here," or "Hey, you need to look there," or "Look here. Look into this. Look into that." So
everything that happened to us needed to. Every good thing, every bad thing, everything needed to happen to us. We needed to learn in order to grow, rise, and get to our next step. If we didn't do that, we would not know each other today. We would not be sitting here talking to each other. We have all helped each other in some aspect. And here we are. But we had to get to the point where we were vibrationally matched in order to meet. Spirit said, "Okay, you signed this contract. Now you're ready to see each other's faces."
Exactly.
This is what I look like this time. That's what you look like.
I look like this time. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't have boobs this time. Just saying.
I knew you wore seashells. I knew it.
Or maybe coconuts.
Like the Doctor Who, he when he passes, he regenerates into a different physical being, still human, but he has been female and male.
Exactly.
He doesn't know what he's going to be until he gets there. And in the one scene, I'm kind of like, what I feel like is, can't remember his name, but the one doctor who, when he regenerated, he wanted fish sticks and custard. And he said, I'm still cooking. He's still learning who he is this time. I'm still cooking, but I ain't eating fish sticks and custard.
I mean, theoretically, aren't we always cooking?
Yeah, we are always growing. We are always learning.
You know,
Sometimes it's
like
not fun.
in that way. So,
if everything was sunshine and rainbows, we wouldn't do the work in order to repair ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the day I stop learning is the day I stop breathing.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm not willing to be open and learning and wanting to learn, then I might as well just lay down and die. That's the way I feel. I love learning.
Thank you, Matt Smith. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you. I'd have been.
Did I miss something in the argument with the blonde one?
The name of the doctor who ate
the name of the doctor.
It was Matt Smith.
And I'm not I'm not Doctor Who-ish enough. So, sorry, not to offend you.
I don't watch TV.
I was watching Doctor Who when I was a kid.
Well, of course, because you were ancient.
What's it like to walk with the dinosaurs?
Well, not that ancient.
You just got to be careful riding a Stegosaurus because of the big plates coming out. It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have a saddle?
They have what?
You didn't have a saddle?
They had saddles.
No, a Stegosaurus got big plates coming out of its back all the way down.
Why
You
can't I
can't
see
put
that?
a saddle on it.
Why can I see Keith riding a dinosaur with a saddle and reins and, a cowboy hat, with an Australian accent?
Oh, God.
Kind of like a velociraptor.
Go ahead. Oh, crikey. Go
Now,
ahead.
that's interesting because I'm going to say,
Crikey, listen here, Crocodile Dundee.
Do it.
ever since I was a teenager, I was always going to go to Australia and find myself a Sheila. I'm going to go on a beach and I'm going to find myself a Sheila. What's the name of my first girlfriend? Sheila. What's the name of my sister? Sheila. What's the name of one of my last lessons? Sheila.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Your Sheila's like my
I
Jamie.
should not probably go to Australia.
No.
Well, I mean, you do know that Australia, they did ship off all of the, criminals and vagabonds and no-gooders and whatever else that they wanted to throw out that way.
It was a prison continent.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine being a native of that land and then all of a sudden the English show up with all these criminals?
No.
Like, can you imagine what that would have been like?
No.
Can you see them sitting there going, what? Why here?
Well, same way here. Same way in Africa. I mean, all of a sudden
It is his
there's
favorite song.
advanced civilization showing up on your beach, and you're like, what is that? Staring at the boat. Are these gods? And that.
You know what their first thought was? Holy crap, they need a tan. Okay. Us showing up on the shores of here, the natives were going.
As this tells you how old I am, as the movie, was it Gods Like Us? Oh my God. It was a native. He was a native. And it was like a big soda, like the glass bottle, Coke can bottle was in that movie. Because he was like from Africa. And he was like, what is this? It like fell out of the sky. And it was like.
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
I think it was Gods Like Us. I think I'd have to go Google it.
I think so too.
Something.
Can you imagine?
Nick, oh my God, me. Have you seen how white you are, Mr. I live in Chicago.
Oh, he lives in Chi-Town?
Oh,
Gotta watch out.
He's a
yes,
kid.
gods must be crazy.
Gods must be crazy.
Jill knows what I'm talking about. That movie. I got that vision. Like they come with a boat and then they're just like, what?
Well, and
You're crazy.
think about, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. Think about the older older civilizations. Chinese, Japanese, their stories of dragons flying through the sky.
Hold on, wait. The Bible mentions dragons 9
Yes.
times. So, okay. Anyways, I just have to say
And
that's my favorite dragon fact. And I believe that dinosaurs had wings, but go ahead.
not wrong. Pteranodons, just saying. But all of the older civilization, when things would come down from the sky, fiery, noisy, and all of a sudden there are these beings in front of them. Can you imagine what they thought? And yeah, that's all speculative, but more proof is coming out all the time. A few years ago, the oldest civilization they said was like 6,000 years old.
Here in New Mexico.
Now,
Here in New Mexico, they have dated the oldest footprints, the oldest campsites, and footprints that walked along dinosaurs. I just want to brag about that. That is White Sands, New Mexico, one of our 7 wonders of the world. And I love it. They have also found, I can't remember the name of the slides, not to cut you off, Keith, but this is really cool. This is something that they're releasing. You know those sleds that were logs and that they were crossed like this, and they would pack stuff on them and they would pack people on them and then they would drag them, right? They have found those drag marks across White Sands in the gypsum that's hardened. Yes. They have found fire. They have found food remains. They have found bones. They have found human feces. They have found so much, but it is the oldest civilization here on Earth, and it comes from the migration of the glaciers during the time when the glaciers melted and everything else during the Ice Age, that they came down. So but go ahead. Now, where were you going with that?
You're fine. You're fine. You're right. You're absolutely right. But the media doesn't put that out. That's all kept hidden. They're looking at evidence of intelligent civilizations 36,500 years old, but that's even old. What you're talking about is even older. They're still trying to debunk it. And then what they just found under the pyramids, my God, the pyramids, the evidence leads up to the fact that the Sphinx and the pyramids were there before the Younger Dryas. And if you don't know what that is a major extinction event and flood about 12,500 years ago. And the Sphinx has water erosion on it. And back then, that was not a desert. That was lush. That was green. And a lot of water. And the Nile flowed differently. And the structures under the pyramid, there's an aquifer that flows through that. So that water flows through those lower boxes, transmits that energy up those spirals, and boom, let's call home. ET, call home. They are finding so much with LIDAR in South America, in the jungles, the Aztecs and the Mayans. They had cities everywhere. They had huge cities. And then,
what we think are mountains that are overgrown, or if you have a house on top, if you have like a structure, a mountain, it's the structure is not on top of a mountain. It's on top of layers after layer after layer after layer after layer. But you have to get through to that because over time, trees, the jungle, everything, and they're massive pyramids.
Yeah,
they live like the Pueblos lived.
Yeah,
which is interesting. Now
they built on top of the old ones. So you can't tell how old it is until you get to the base.
Well, that's everywhere. Go look in your cities. Go look at Washington D.C.
Yes.
They built on top of them and they buried it.
Yep.
This is one of the oldest.
That's what they're calling it.
This is one of the oldest petroglyphs that I got to go witness and see in person. I don't know if you can see the big feet. You can see the dinosaur club head.
Yeah.
That's Bigfoot. This is in Utah, right? And they have this is some of the oldest like petroglyphs in the world. Here you go. Here's a better picture. And you can see where Bigfoot is holding on to a severed head that's crying. But what's in his hand is more interesting. It is a dinosaur in his hand. And it's right next to portals.
Isn't that interesting?
And so you go in, and I'm going to see if this one will show up. This one's kind of tricky. There's an actual petroglyph of a now the Navajos believe that they came back as ants. Okay.
The ant people. Yes.
All right. I actually have seen now, like there's this one, which is really strange.
Interesting.
And those are the heads that Bigfoot's carrying, and all these other people are or all the other ones are carrying, and it depicts a great battle. Now let me see if I can find the one that actually has the spaceship. Oh, here it is.
Okay. While you're looking, where they need, go ahead. Oh, that's interesting.
And you see it's carrying a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let me see if I can find the ant person.
If they want to know about the older civilizations, they need to be looking in the ocean. Reason being, ant people.
Fremont tribe. Yeah, Fremont tribe.
Because during the ice ages, all the water was sucked up into the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So the ocean level was much lower. And what do we do now? We put cities right next to the ocean, don't we?
Atlantis.
What happens when those ice caps melt, like during the Younger Dryas? All of a sudden, you get massive floods because Younger Dryas, that ice cap did not melt slowly. They think it melted in 3 years now. That would give massive floods, flood myths. Every religion has a flood myth. And those civilizations would be swallowed. They're starting to find them.
Mm-hmm.
36,500-year-old civilization. They need to be looking in the ocean. And we would learn so much from what they found. But the scientists now are trying to repress that information that's coming out because that means they're wrong. And they don't want to be wrong.
Exactly. And they don't want to change the narrative.
And help to push the finding of new information. We don't know anything about our history. We thought we did. We don't know crap.
I was just talking to somebody today, and we have Shiprock, right? Here in New Mexico, and Shiprock is just one big massive rock out in the middle of nowhere. And according to people, native tribes, they came through this rock. But when you look at this rock, it's like, I can't remember the other one. It looks like a tree. It looks like a stump of a tree. I mean, things were much bigger back then, right?
Yeah.
And we have such massive cave systems here in New Mexico that go all the way down to Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. I don't know what the name of the person that's speaking under Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. Love the name, by the way. Absolutely gray aliens that are ant people. And the ant people, so Navajos believe that the first time that they came here, they were too smart, so they were taken off the planet, right? And then when they came back, they were too stupid to stay here and survive. So they believe that they came back as ants, and they had to earn their transition into who they are now. Just a little side note. So yeah, they truly believe this. And of course, their history is not written down. It is all oral. Their language is not written down. It is all oral. I love Indian. I love this part of my life. Where was I going with that? But the bridge from the Americas to Asia has actually been proven.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so during that time frame. We need to also, like, the cave systems here. Like, you go into Carlsbad, there's water that hasn't been touched for thousands of years. They just found the deepest pool here in New Mexico of of water that hasn't been touched and the crystals growing on it? And how do you sample something like that without wrecking it? Right. It's not like you dip something sterile in there and pull it out, because then you've just wrecked everything.
Yeah.
Basically have to evaporate it and then catch it, which is kind of tricky. But the things that they find in our caves here, they're not releasing. And our cave systems are so deep. And we believe that this is the way that the Aztecs and the Mayans disappeared, was through these cave systems. And I truly believe, and I was just talking to somebody today, that these cave systems, there are markers in front of some of them. And I have seen grown ass men not go but 10 feet into those cave systems and say, I can't do it. They feel like they're being watched. They feel like there's a presence. And so I'm not one of those that will go, oh yeah, there's a ton of people living, that we don't know about. But there is a huge possibility that we have ancient civilizations living in these cave systems that haven't seen the light of day, that have gone down there and are still living and thriving.
Lizard people. Lizard people.
Lizard people and the Greys. Freak me.
They have found.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but they have found a cave system that has been there for a long, long time. Well, excuse, I'm going to correct myself. Not a cave system, an actual underground city with levels and levels and levels, and it could support 30 to 40,000 people with livestock and somehow grow crops. It is amazing. And many different people have used that over the years to hide from something. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you have an underground system like that can support 30,000 people with no sunlight? How do you do that?
They adapted. Well, I believe that they will. I mean, let's look at it from this point. Let's look at our Native Americans here. Our Native Americans, they took refuge in caves. That's how they crossed this land. Nobody can tell me that Geronimo made it from, say TRC, New Mexico to Las Cruces, New Mexico without being spotted on land. No, he went underground, and he traveled the cave systems and the tunnel systems underground. Our Native Americans took so much refuge. That's where they hid from fires. That's where they hid from invasion. That's where they stored their food. That's where they took refuge from the weather. That's how they protected themselves. I mean, we were cave people. That was our homes. So those people are adapted to seeing in the dark. Those people are adapted to a different way of navigation. They don't need X, Y, and Z like we need up here. Now, if you send us into a cave system, we're going to get lost. We're going to get, confused, or we're going to lose track of time. There's an experiment that was done a number of years ago with the scientists that did this.
Yeah.
I think it was like 180 days he was underground. And he went crazy. But if you have grown up in that environment and that's how you live,
it's normal.
Don't tell me my computer.
Take the Russian nuclear disaster. What?
Chernobyl?
Yes, thank you. The animals, you go ahead. The animals there should have, quote, perished. They are thriving. They are getting larger.
Adapt or die.
They adapted, and how they adapted has now been scientifically proven. Dormant DNA that they didn't need anymore has come back out in order to help them, because the Earth hasn't always had the magnetic field that it's had to protect us from the sun's radiation. So at one time, animals, us living here, lived with a lot more radiation, and they were fine because they adapted to it. And then when the radiation came back, dormant DNA said, oh, look, radiation. It's our jam. And they're growing. They're thriving. So nature is something that will always conquer all. Nature will always win.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
So, like, as a medium, as somebody, well, a medium energy worker, yeah.
My marker staff. Slow down.
Oh, she wants to show you her marker staff.
Oh, that is cool. I like that. Where's the purple?
Markers.
It's
That
her
is
colorful staff.
That's my New Yorker that was not born anywhere near New York. Maca. It's a maca. It's water. As somebody who works with energy, you know, we're often asked, well, why can't you connect to these people? Because they had a way of blocking.
They have spirit still has free will, just like we have free will as humans.
They don't want to talk to us. They ain't going to. They're gonna sit there and watch us.
Exactly.
You know, like
Same, Nick.
Nick, Abby loves Nick. Completely loves Nick. I tell them they don't want to be communicated with. They don't want to, because we're learning our lessons. And not only that, if it's true that, say,
It's raining right now.
we'll go out and run in the rain. It's New Mexico and it's raining. It's like a glorious moment.
Congrats.
So I believe that if there are people still living in these cave systems, they have truly they have truly mastered the art of energy, and they have truly mastered the art of, like, I heard magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard from, and they don't want to be known about, because, like I said, we need to learn our lessons.
They probably have larger eyes, maybe
Yes.
black.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Renee. Had to trigger. Love you, girl.
Yep. That's all right. It's okay.
Great. You know, tall, skinny, getting through crevices, adapting. Who knows? I don't know. But,
Well, and what are we going to do?
huh?
Say we do have a fallout. Where are we going to go?
I'm
We're
going
toast.
home.
I'm going
I'm
home.
going
Yes.
home. I'm going, and I'm like that video I sent you. I am not going towards that light. I'm
No.
turning around and saying, just send me home.
I'm going home.
That's not where I want. I want home. So
I'm gonna be
I'm
Neo,
gonna
and I'm gonna wake up.
and I'm not going towards that light. I'm not
Nope.
going to that recycle center in the sky.
Because that
Who
is
says that the light that we go to isn't? Never mind.
well. Okay.
The light, you know, the sun. What like here's a time warp. What if we emerge under? Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. There are pictures of something on the far side of the moon. It is a cube, and there is a tower, and nobody wants us to know about these things. The moon is said to be hollow. At one time, there are civilizations that said that the moon was not here. It was brought here or built. Okay. Hollow.
There was 3 at one time too.
Apollo dropped something on the moon to measure its density, and it rung like a bell for hours. And they repeated it, and it rung longer. That's hollow. Asteroids that hit it, the bigger the asteroid, the deeper that impact crater should be going.
Mm-hmm.
There is a limit to how deep those impact craters go, no matter how deep they go. Therefore, there is something very dense, but yet it's not dense because it rings like a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Hollow. There is a
Death Star.
theory. There's a theory that aliens, lizard people, are using that to draw our negative energy to feed on. Will happy energy feed them? Yes, but negative energy feeds them better.
Well, they need to eat more because there's too much negative.
So what do spirits and entities that attack us try to cause? Negative energy, because they feed on it, right? Coincidence, you think? Well, the cube, they say, is the reincarnation trap. as soon as we pass and it shows us that light, we go up there and they send us right back instead of going home. So,
Yep.
Ain't doing it.
Nope, not going. Not going.
With the daddy that worked at NASA, I'm very proud to say that. I miss my dad. I wish he was here for this part of the conversation. I don't even find the moon interesting. I find Mars interesting. I find Mars interesting because there's matching pyramids to the Earth that are there. We, you know, Mars is just very interesting. And it's very interesting how all of a sudden we want to go back to Mars. Like, what is the draw to go back to Mars?
So someone's main goal is to go back to Mars because someone's, you know, people say someone isn't of this plane.
And he wants to go back to the moon too and make a settlement there. So we are living in an incredible age. We're going to get to Mars. We're going to get back to the moon. And the information on what is on the other side of the moon that they couldn't talk about, we're going to get it. We're going to find out what's going on.
It's very interesting, the people that were selected to go to Mars and the selection process that took place. We have, you know, they had to be okay with never coming back here and never seeing their family, and they were put through psychological tests. And I don't even know what happened to those people.
No, I don't either.
Because they're not here. I where did those people go? Where did those? I think it was like 15 people.
Training, or are they already there?
Or are they already on their way there? Because we have sent supply to Mars already, and it takes X amount of years to get to Mars, right? And it takes X amount of time for those things to be set up on Mars, and then we are supposed to come after. So did they already go to Mars?
Are they already terraforming the planet to reinstall the atmosphere that was wiped out 300 million years ago during the nuclear war?
Right. I agree with that.
Yep.
You know, and then on the lines of, if you want to look at ancient civilizations, there's a show, and an archaeologist has come through on Netflix, and he blows the history off of that. You know, he's like, no, science is wrong and history is wrong. And he's been criticized, and he's been ostracized. He's been excommunicated from everything because he's discovered and put publicly his findings and his beliefs. And I cannot remember the name of the show. So if somebody's seen that show, I'd appreciate it. I think it's Archaeologists and Ancient Archaeology. I do believe. Like I'm going to look it up right now. And it's very interesting. The things that he has found. Ancient
aliens.
You know, Giorgio just needs a new hairstyle.
I love Giorgio. He is amazing. Him and David Wilcock.
My son was like enthralled and infatuated with that show for the longest time ever. But you know, like that's another thing too. That's another story of mine, of my kid coming from said somewhere.
Yeah, they put out good points on that show. Punko.
Yeah, ancient archaeology. That's what it is. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Punko. This, I think that's where it was. This guy, he's a college professor or something. He went there and he measured everything. And he tried to use lasers and everything, and he found out that the best way to measure it was with the tape measure. So he measured everything. They scanned everything that they could see, and then he 3D printed everything. And they tried for a year to put everything back together and couldn't figure it out. And they found a keystone, 2 pieces of a keystone, and fit it together. And once they did that, they had the key, and they could put everything back together. And all of those broken up rocks, it is a building, a massive building that probably got wiped out by the flood. And how do they make these irregular shaped stones that fit together to the point where you can't fit a piece of paper through it. There's a theory that they use some kind of plant extract teeth to melt it and then pour it in like concrete. It's been proven, they've done it. So we are gaining the knowledge that we previously had through experimentation. The next 10 years, we are going to be blown away by the information that comes out.
I'm going to say something that might insult,
Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it.
might insult 99.9% of the population, but we are stupid.
Yes.
We are stupid. How is it that we can't remember what happened 100 years ago correctly? Right?
It's hidden. It's
You know,
hidden.
like, why we have lost so much knowledge. Like, we should know why these symbols are found in the earth and what they mean. We should know XYZ. We should know, we should know these things. But yet here we are, you know, thousands of years later going, huh? And you know, I'll tell you what the problem is. It's this. It's what we're talking on, right? Like, our technology is making us dumber than what we were.
I agree but disagree, because we were not taught our actual history in school. We were not taught what actually happened. We were taught what they wanted us to know.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that. And here's my, my theory is the reason why we don't is we are painting. We are painting. We are paying. I'm going to use the word and probably going to penance or for our wrongdoing, which goes back to two gods that
and
one wanted us to enslave us and one wanted us to have everything.
The Anunnaki.
And we're paying, and I really truly believe we're paying our penance for something, for past lives, past generations, past lineages of wrongdoing. And that's the reason why.
I gotta say it. What we're in the Anunnaki, lizard people.
I know, and that's fine.
And you gotta say it like Hecklefish does on the Y-Files. Lizard
people. Lizard people. The lizard people.
Well, I think you guys said like a key word in there, and this is going to be, again, something that most people won't agree with. School. We created schools and we became,
this is going to be.
Yeah, Renee, you just keep your mouth. You can just
no. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. You know what? If I lose my job, I don't care. Prisons.
Yeah.
Prisons, indoctrinated prisons.
And that,
in my opinion, to save us on that. In my opinion.
And I look at it from the standpoint of I'll even go like it's something that's affected us in this generation of us, daycares. Well, we don't have the sense of community anymore. Well, we don't have the word of mouth. Right.
We can go back further. That's when the TV was put into the kitchen and into the dining room instead of leaving it in the living room.
Right. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Right. There's that. There's the disintegration of the family home, the nuclear family.
Latchkey kids.
Lies being told to make sure that you stay here and you do this and you get this and you get to stay here and you get this all for free. But then there's the other side that, you've got to work your tail off for them.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, there's a lot, prayer taking out of school. There's a lot of things. I mean, if you really want to say 1960, and
we've taken the sense of even our family history. Look at, we don't even know our family history. Here we
No.
are, like I can sit down and up to a point, like Renee, you and I have discussed, Keith, you and I have discussed, I can take my family history back, but then it stops, right? And I don't know anything more. But how many of us, how many kids now sit down on their grandparents' laps and listen to how their grandparents came over, listen to where they came from? That's where I feel I'm blessed. I was raised with my great grandparents and my grandparents. And hi, honey.
Happy
It's nice to see you
birthday.
pop on.
Happy
That's
birthday.
what my journey of finding out where I came from was for a different reason. That was to heal family and generational curses in my family and chains. So I was lucky enough, and as I dug and went, wow, and the characters that I am related to, good and bad, would make people's heads spin.
And who are you related to down the line?
You.
Yeah. You can't make that up. Who else?
Nope. And I'm also related to Howie.
Yeah. Yep.
I can say I don't know who I'm related to, except for,
Well, I'm
one side.
once I get my current change established, that's going to bring me some peace. And if I have peace, I can actually get on this thing and do work. Right now, I sit down and it's chaos. I can't because of everything I've got going on somewhere else. But once I do that, then I am going to really dig into my family because there's something that I need to see somewhere. I don't know if it's on mom's side, dad's side. I'm thinking maybe both.
Both, because I found both for me. So I mean, I was always told this one thing and found out other things, and then questions, and then it was like, well, you don't remember Poppy talking about the family in Germany and being in the Black Forest? And I go, no, not at all. But when I found it, it triggered something from my mother. And then my mother goes, oh, yeah, Poppy used to talk about it all the time. Like his name is not Karst, it's Karsten. And they dropped it and they changed it and they da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Which, ironically, that's the same thing with Cody's. 95% of Canada wouldn't be without a Cody. Anyway, that I found that out.
Hey?
You don't say.
Hey. No, I don't, because I try to distance myself from that line. But it's amazing because if my paperwork is right, which I haven't gotten really to do much of digging over on the computer with being over in France, Cody was not Cody, it was Wood Cody.
Sorry.
I know, and it's WOOD.
Wait.
What?
Wait. Boom, heads exploding. Wood, Cody, Black Forest, my blood curse on my father's side was because one of my relatives injured a fae having to do with a tree and cursed firstborn of every line, which led to moi. However, now we got the buddy in the backyard from this. Something good came from something not so good. He says, hey, by the way.
¿Qué pasó?
So it just it really does, when I couldn't get past my grandfather, you know what I mean? But when I really took it seriously and then started and that's the problem. We have to start taking it seriously.
Yeah. I couldn't get past my grandfather on my dad's side.
But you will, because the documents are there which is a nice thing to do. But that's the thing that Jan was talking about. Like nobody sits and talks anymore and says, "Hey, you know, the
No,
atypical thing, that they took like at school." Because I know like Jacoby had to do it, and they were like, "Oh, do your family tree," because they do that for a project.
Mhm.
And Jacoby's like, "Well, how far do you want me to go back? My mother has it going back to like 1300th in England. What would you like me to stop? Do you want me to pull out somebody interesting? Because there's a lot of interesting characters.
Right.
There's a lot of interesting characters.
no.
I'll
Instead,
do it.
what we do? Instead, we send in a little blood sample to unknown sources, and we have our DNA done up, and we take that as is. And half the time, I don't even believe that that's true. I think that they
No.
just want your DNA for DNA, purposes.
Yeah. Well, yes, I agree with
did.
that.
I did it because
I
they
did it
already
too.
have my DNA. They already had it because I got arrested. Just saying. So they already had my DNA. So I'm like, you know what? They've already got it. What the hell?
They take the
and
day you're born.
It verified that I have Viking background.
I will not put my blood into that bloodline system.
I got no problem with that.
I will not. I have made promises, and I intend to keep my promise that I will never do that. If
That's
I
fine.
find any of my children doing that,
no-
the wrath of mom will come down. But like I don't trust it.
And that's why I said they already had mine. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Mhm. I mean, and I had to because I had to find siblings.
Yeah.
Like I actually had to look at DNA, like strands of DNA, and against somebody else's, and go, okay, this is my mother's. All right, so they're matching here, 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 and here. Okay, that's shit. Who is that? Because that's mom. Do you know who that is? And she goes, no. And we found out that was a brother that she didn't know she had.
Yeah, which brings us back to the original subject of this live was your story.
Yep.
So everything comes full circle. And speaking of coming full circle, ladies, I have to get off of here and get ready to get to bed so I can go to work tomorrow since I got my neck fixed. Yay, but I got to get the heating pad and the ice pack back out and give it a little time to work.
And you have to pee again. Don't lie.
what's that?
And you probably have to pee again.
Not wrong. So you got 3 marks tonight. You're going to keep track of this, aren't you? You're going to make a chart on every show, aren't you? All right.
No. I was being funny.
I'm good with it. I don't care. It's fun.
But like he said, bringing it back to me, that's not even like half of the skeletons in the closet. That's just the beginning.
Yeah, and every time we open the door, something new will come out. Once we work on the last one and start to heal from that, then Spirit sees that, and okay, now you're ready for this.
Yep.
So we're always going to.
That's
okay.
Your brain is a filing cabinet, and over the years, what we cannot process and what we cannot understand, we file in the filing cabinet. And through life, we gather our tools. And once we gather our tools and we are able to handle something that is in our cabinet, it will come forward in order
100%.
for us to.
Yep.
100%. Because I mean, to end it again on me, how I met that man is, hey, got a question for you.
So,
might sound crazy. I think I have an attachment.
Well, let's take a look. Yeah, how long you had that?
Since I was
Let's take
6.
a look at this. Okay, let's work through this.
Mm-hmm.
Chan, you know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about because I've been there myself.
I feel bad for you two with me.
And I will be honest with you, I don't do it as much anymore because I have more confidence. But every once in a while, I will still go in the bathroom mirror and I will look into my eyes just to verify that I am still me. Mm-hmm. And if I have any questions, hey, Renee, what's up? Let's get this figured out.
Yep.
What we figure out is somebody else throwing shade. No.
Yep.
2 of the most powerful words in human language are yes, that. I didn't say it out loud because of little ears, just saying. I know,
Throw
but
a
I'm being
bomb at it,
polite.
baby. That's what I say. But but as
I need mine.
I gotta make one. I gotta make the MFer. I'm going to. I'm make.
Yes, it was with Samuel Jackson's hat.
Gotta
Yes.
figure something out.
I saw him on a commercial the other day, and I'm like, I'll send you the hat.
But that's that, like I said, that's only part, but that's what kind of kick-started me off into the liking the weird, the dark, the strange,
Paranormal.
the paranormal, baby. And then like Poltergeist came
You were
out,
born for it.
Amityville came out, like and The Exorcist, and then the Warrens used to go every Halloween. They used to go to the schools in town, and they used to talk about, oh, look at this is the an exorcism Ed did. Look, he changes there. He's the devil. Here's the guy that's the werewolf. Like here's Annabelle. And it was a slippery slope that just went down, and I went, I belong here.
Yes, you do. And
Mhm.
I am very proud to have you on my paranormal team.
Hey, like I said, I do it for the clients.
You are not only an incredible investigator, and
A straight shooter.
but
Researcher.
yeah, that's the word. Thank you. But you have gifts.
Mm-hmm.
That one. Let me backwards. That one has gifts. So we're yes.
He has gifts too. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to work a little bit. Just saying.
Oh,
And,
look at we got somebody from Twitch. Oh, bye-bye. The block button.
Oh, did you block him?
No. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I'll have us kicked off.
Me no touchy.
I know.
Me no touchy.
You run the mothership. You run the mothership. You run like hello, crazy train. You are
Yep,
the.
I see it. I see it. Hang on.
Oh, man.
I got him.
Being the only male, we have to give you some sort of
Thank
like
you.
status. We have to give you some
Thank
leeway.
you. They're blocked. They're gone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Have fun. Sorry.
Toodles.
Down the crapper it goes.
Yes.
So yeah, but I mean that's kind of me in a nutshell a little bit. So like when people are like, "Oh, well, have you ever had an experience?" Oh yeah, I have, and that's
We've had a
one of
lot.
many. It's one of many.
And that's what we're talking about in this series is we are ripping our own closet doors off and telling you our own stories. We are bringing out our own vulnerability to help others. And hopefully that will entice other people to reach out for help, to help themselves.
Yeah.
Even
I did.
just looking in the mirror at themselves and realizing maybe I haven't been the best person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I might have made some mistakes in this relationship with this friend or this child or this husband or this wife, this job, coworker. It's just to try to help people grow as a person and raise their vibration so that they can help other people like we try to do. That's why we're here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we are using our own up stories.
Mm.
And you can believe them. You can not believe them.
You can believe them. You can believe them not.
This is what happened to us. This is our truth. And we're going to tell it.
Exactly.
This is our story. This is our truth. This is who we are.
Yeah. Who's next?
Abby goes me.
I was waiting for that. That's why I asked it.
And who's not to say that there's not, because we found tonight similarities with all of us too.
Yeah.
Through sharing some of mine.
Right. Absolutely. We had new viewers tonight.
Yep.
Maybe we threw out some stuff that helped them.
Yeah.
Maybe not right away. Maybe down the line.
Just do what I did. You got tired of wanting to know and asking everybody under the sun their opinion and just said, you know what, rip the Band-Aid off and go, okay. Right, Mr. Otterberg, do I have an attachment? And is it going to kill me, or is it going to help me, or do I have to get rid of it? Because she's been here so long and I kind of would miss her if I left.
But we needed to do some homework first.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to know what we were dealing with,
Yep.
why we were dealing with it, how we needed to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
We took some time in order to study, understand, and figure everything out.
Mm-hmm.
But you were patient, and I appreciate that.
100%.
Thank you, Jan. I appreciate the patience. You know, I would love to just snap my fingers and make everything better, but that's not how it works.
Nope.
Because you're going
She's the best.
Look at the beatnik over there. You know, but that
It's my peanut gallery.
she is going to grow up to be a very strong woman. And what's nice is
I need all the help I can get with
Right
this
here.
one because it's like raising mini
you
me.
got it.
That's me. She's cut from the same
Yep.
cloth. She's my twin.
You like it, Mom?
All right, you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Good night.
Night.
I
Well, fellas.
What'd she say?
Oh, she wants to show you
Okay.
her shirt. It's her favorite shirt. It's horses.
Wow.
Wild Horse. Oh, you know what? That is one of my favorite songs.
That's her to a T.
That is one of my favorite songs. You can't make that up.
Well,
Nick, of course, you're encouraging her, Nick. You would.
Night, Nick. I did grab your friend request. Thank you for that. All right, ladies and gents, thank you for viewing our little show tonight. We do appreciate you hopping on and listening to us ramble about ourselves and other things that most people don't believe in. It helps our mentality that we're not totally crazy. Just saying.
Yeah.
So next week it will be me and Joni talking about what is going on up there and how it's going to affect us. But like I said, May is going to be, we get a break. We haven't had a break in a very long time, so take advantage of it. What do you want to do? Do something you have wanted to do for a long time. Just go do it. Go to the zoo. Go to the zoo. Take a day. You want to go fish?
Get your mother a gift next. Mother's Day is coming up. I need to throw that out and remind everybody.
Yes.
Hint, hint, hint. Nobody can say. Nobody can say that. They weren't told that it's Mother's Day.
Right.
Hint.
Hint. Just a little hint.
And if your mother is not here at this time, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can still look up and say, "Hey, Mom, Happy Mother's Day. I love you."
Exactly.
She's going to hear you.
Mother's love never leaves.
Whether she's still up there or she's already reincarnated, she will hear you. If she's already reincarnated, she may be going, "What was that?" But she's going to hear you just the same.
Exactly.
Did I?
Yeah, see the little peanut gallery. You heard that,
What's
right? That? Okay, you didn't hear that. That's good. I'm sure everybody else in the audience.
I didn't hear it.
Abby.
Hey, Kason. Hey, I apologize. We're just about to hop off. I got to get to work tomorrow. But if you want, you can go.
I have to go educate my way, littles.
Yes. 2.5 tonight. I'll say that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty good.
For getting off early.
Yep.
Watch your work.
They do make medication for that. On that note.
Yes. I am going to just hit the video. Say thank you again. If you don't know, the RNN and the Ottersburg are on the Ottersburg. The Otter's Den is also on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, So if you would go search us out, give us a like, hit that notification. That way you know when we're on. Because this platform isn't real good about putting us out. We do try to share, but the more platforms you're access to, the more you're going to get notifications to.
I mean, Kason, he does give really good advice. I'm just going to say that.
Thanks.
So don't be afraid. Ask the questions. We need help. Find help.
Yeah, we're here. We're here. And if you need somebody to reach out to, we're here and we will do our best. Yes, we do have, that 3D work life and everything. So we will get back to you when we can. Please be patient, but if you reach out to us, we will get back to you somehow.
Exactly.
So on that note, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Renee, for letting your vulnerability out and ripping your closet door off.
Yes.
You
See,
can
I'm not this like tough exterior woman. I do have a soft side. I got bushy good side. I don't let any people know.
You can put the closet door back on the hinges now.
There's a problem. Yes. I always took the hinges off the doors and lost the screws. My life.
Extras.
My life.
Don't worry, I have a shot full.
We got you. All right.
All right. I love you guys where you're
Love
at.
you too. Night, everybody.
Night.
Night.